سوم نوامبر 2020 روز انتخابات ریاست جمهوری آمریکاست. حاکمان ایران که مسئولیت تمام مشکلات موجود در ایران رو حاکمان آمریکا و کاخ سفید میدونند، چشم به نتیجه این انتخابات دوختند و امیدوار هستند که با نتیجه این انتخابات چند صباحی به عمر ننگین حکومت اسلامیشون اضافه بکنند. در این خصوص با کریس تیلر، شهروند آمریکایی، گفتگویی داریم. Welcome to Lens Show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. On the 3rd of November 2020, Americans will decide whether Donald Trump will remain in the White House for another 4 years or Democratic Party nominee Joe Biden will be the next American president. First, let's start with the ideologies of two major political parties in the United States.
Okay.
What is the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans?
Well, there are many differences between the two political parties, and I would say as far as the Republicans are concerned, they want small government. Democrats want larger government. Republicans want lower taxes. Democrats want higher taxes. Republicans are more conservative. Democrats are much more liberal. They want a huge safety net for the population. And then another very big issue is guns, where the Democrats want stricter gun control laws. The Republicans, on the other hand, they want to continue with the gun laws that we have. So historically, the question was, what's the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans? The biggest difference is that Democrats will tell you one thing in front of your face, but behind your back, they will do completely the opposite. Whereas the Republicans will stand behind what they want to implement, and they push for that.
Actually, maybe this is true in America, you know, about the Democrats, maybe that's the reason why Iranian authorities they are looking for the Joe Biden to win the election, because they are the same. Their act is totally different from their speech. So yes, that can be a reason also. And you, as an American who these days are following 2020 presidential elections news, who's ahead, and which candidate is more popular in the U.S., Trump or Joe Biden?
Well, you know, I've been following the news very close since this primary began, and unfortunately, it's very difficult to get the exact correct news from all of the news channels that we have out here. It's very difficult, especially in today's time. When Donald Trump became the president, he was calling out the news media outlets, calling it fake news. And believe me, Nooshin, when I heard this, I was a bit shocked myself. But then gradually I started seeing for myself that news is supposed to be equal to what's happening. You know, you report the facts. But then you watch, you know, cable news network, for a good example is CNN. 99% of the coverage on CNN is against Donald Trump. I would say 90% of the coverage on Fox News is for Donald Trump. You got about 10%, a few anchors that actually report equal news, which is Brett Baer, Mr. Wallace. But for the most part, it's so difficult to get accurate news because everybody has their own agenda, their own shareholders that they need to impress. But I would say right now, Donald Trump is behind Joe Biden on the polls by anywhere between 12 to 15 points, depending on which polls you're looking at. And but this was the same circumstance for Donald Trump when he ran against Hillary Clinton. He was way behind, but then he did make a comeback. As far as popularity is concerned, I think there's not a single person on this planet, including the United States of America, that would disagree with me. It would definitely be Donald Trump.
Yeah. And what is the impact of this election on Iran's situation under the U.S. sanctions? What are the pros and cons for Iran if Trump win 2020 presidency or Biden?
Well, if Donald Trump is re-elected and he is the president of the United States, I believe that there's going to be much more stricter sanctions against Iran. If Joe Biden wins the election, there might be a possibility that he's going to be much more relaxed on Iran. But if I had to choose between the two to see which would actually make an impact on the circumstances that's going on with the nuclear deal in Iran, as far as also the human rights, I would probably choose Donald Trump, because he's got a much stronger foothold on the Iranian regime. And just a few days ago, he came out with some more sanctions, because as you know, Iran is backing up a lot of the different militias that's creating problems and havoc in Iraq, as well as Syria, and now in Lebanon. So I would say Donald Trump is going to have a much more stricter approach to Iran than the Democrats historically.
So thank you for answering our questions.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. و شما همراهان لنز شو میتونید نظرات خودتون رو از طریق صفحات اجتماعی لنز شو در توییتر، فیسبوک، اینستاگرام و یوتیوب با ما در میون بذارید.